Um, Jeff, you want to go ahead and start, or? Okay. Okay, we are live.
Welcome to the City Advertising and Promotion Commission for February the 6th for our workshop in the auditorium. Okay, so Larry is here, Larry Schaefer. Larry, would you come up and introduce yourself, make sure everybody knows who you are and what you do?
Okay.
And tell us what you have this year for us.
I'm Larry Schaefer. I'm a concert producer, promoter, and I've brought national artists to this building for especially the past 3.5 years. And so I've got a lot of energy and heart invested in our projects here. I know you got a couple of new people on the board here.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I saw your face and you saw mine, so to get to know you a little bit. This is kind of a State of the Union is why I'm here. With what I've done here energy-wise and with the investment I made in this town, by the way, I love this town.
Thank you.
I've hit certain realities that weren't planned. Of course, we all been fighting the COVID issues and the residuals of it. And of course, we're in a financial challenge right now, and that's affected most. I don't know everybody here what business you're in, but it probably affected your business negatively in some ways. I know in terms of if we use let's use 2020 for my involvement here. Just about everything I brought in here was a sellout show or near, and my ticket sales are off probably 35%. So the kind of money I'm having to guarantee the artists to come here, which can be more substantial than you would think, I got to be more strategic for future shows with some adjustments.
Can I ask a question? What are you referencing off 35%? So we're selling out.
Let's call this 1,000 seats here.
Yeah.
It's 986. A show that I could depend on to sell 900 of those 1,000 seats. I'm off about 300 tickets, which means I walk away without a profit, sometimes a loss. Last year alone, the losses were substantial, and I think I had a pretty good lineup.
Okay.
But I have connections to other promoters that promote in all the 48 lower states here. Their business is off also. It doesn't matter if it's Detroit or Cincinnati. We're all facing the same challenges, which is not insurmountable because one thing, my company's 51 years old now, and I've seen a lot of changes. I know through tough times, they're not going to stay forever, and you get back on track. And of course, our challenges now are just what I said, residual to COVID and getting people to have money or faith in what. Well, let me back up a little bit. This is an NPR demographic I advertise to. That's usually people with expendable income or retirees. That particular age demo has kind of learned how to not go out, maybe because of the quality of streaming shows. But I've got to readjust that somehow in my marketing, and that affects me a lot because that's the demographic I'd set to go after, and it worked well. It wasn't difficult for me to do, but we need to see some improvement getting those people back out, and I'm not sure that we have any power over that. One thing I intend to do is to try to go to a little bit younger age demographic, which should make up the difference. Now, if you want me to give you a list of names, I don't have them, but the days of Three Dog Night and the days of Little River Band, even though they were excellent shows here, are kind of that age group that supports them we're in our 70s, 60s. So I'm missing out a large piece of the pie. That's kind of my vision on where I'd head with this. I know that when I bring 1,000 people into this town, they rent a lot of hotel rooms and they eat a lot of hamburgers. So there's a big win for the city over that. And in the meantime, I'm not making money here. So I know you want that to continue, and it will. In terms of the staff here, I got nothing but praise for the staff that's here. I couldn't do a show on that stage without Ron Sumner, who's just been 100% able to keep the artist happy and meet the requirements. Sarai Alishire, I got Scott down in the office who said he's going to step in and fill some gaps. I'm so happy to work with these people. I'm nothing but proud of everybody you got here. In terms of improvement to help what I'm doing, I'd like to see the marketing tighten up here from the venue standpoint, be more efficient, more ready to keep the website up, current information. That would be the biggest thing I could ask for, is maybe to get Paradise to focus, Paradise being the ad agency, I think, to get them dedicated to what we're doing in this building, not just a generalized promotion of the city, the state. And it shouldn't cost you any more. And from my end, if I was paying someone $1 million a year, I would make them be accountable. Show me where the money went. In other words, show me where the advertising is. So if you guys ever willing to do that, it would be a big win for what I'm doing here. Not just for me, for any show that comes in here. There's other shows that come in here and will in the future, but maybe they should ask for the same attention. Financially, I'd like to see a rent reduction or no rent until we turn this thing around. And by the way, your rent figure is a bargain the way it is. But it's just $3,000 more I lose based on what I faced last year on selling the tickets and breaking a show even. In this particular town, which I consider this town to be a market that was not discovered in terms of the national agents and managers who represent every artist we could probably think of. So in some ways, well, a lot of ways, I've had to get the artists to play here. You know, they're not making any new cities, I hear. And this one's pretty much been quietly sitting over here. And I've had to pay artists more than I would normally pay an artist to get them to play over here on a weekend. So I've got 3 years into that. But right now I'm in a rotation where we are on the map. And the agents are happy in general because there's another stage to play on. And we're not close to any big town, so there's no interference.
Larry, can you tell me how your funds work? Are you getting paid for your ticket pricing and then paying the $3,000 that's required to rent this room? Or what other things are...
Here's how it works. I'm in the risk business. Okay, nobody's funding me. Nobody takes a loss with me when I face it. So I pay for every expense factor there is. We'll start with rent, advertising, stagehands, liability insurance for day of show, work comp, catering, and a lot of other areas. But if no one comes, I have to pay all these people the same money. And I've paid as much as $50,000 for an act to play here already. And ticket pricing, by the way, I don't know if you asked me that exactly. Ticket prices are based upon the expense of the show. They're not, they don't just, you don't just pull them out of the sky. And it's just a matter of mathematics. A $50,000 show here, the act that I pay $50,000, I have another $20,000 to $22,000 on top of that for some of those items I just talked to you about. So I've done shows here where I don't make money till I sell the last 80 tickets. That's because your capacity is fairly low. And we've been able to get more money out of a ticket here because of the atmosphere of this part of the country and this great old building. So we're getting to where we need to be, but it's going to take more time for us to recover, over the last 3 years.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think live venues, live music, anything in person, concerts have taken a huge hit.
Oh, yes.
So I completely understand that. But when you're saying you are advertising, so you are putting on advertising in addition to what we're doing as a CAPC, but you're saying that we could up our portion of the...
I don't want you to spend another penny. My point is to direct your needs through Paradise that they already have the money. Let's get some of it directed to our events here. And Paradise can do this show by show. And it doesn't take much effort to divert attention, not money, to what we're doing here. That's the biggest thing I get asked for.
Thank you.
I'm trying to make it clear that I like everybody in this building, and I'm in a real comfort zone with them. And I want to keep it that way.
I like that.
But
Thank you.
Biggest thing I got to do right now today is to work on the future. So the payoff may not be till the end of this year when we start making money again, and especially for 2024, 25.
How far in advance would you say that we would need to start advertising your events?
I would like to see, can I use the term loosely, Paradise, since that's who you're spending money with. I would like to see some impact for the on sale day. Okay. I would like to see another layer of marketing in the middle, and then of course the week prior to the show.
So what time, I didn't understand. How far out do you want to start?
Well, it depends on when I go on sale. I've got a show confirmed for June 2nd with Ray Wiley Hubbard and another artist that's almost as profitable, Marcia Ball. Now, that won't mean much to some of the people in this room, but it should do good business here. It will not sell out in this building, but it'll certainly be a big event here that'll draw a lot of people in. I go on sale with that show. I believe it is March 20. Usually I try to be on sale as much as 120 days prior to the show day, but sometimes it's a little bit later than that. So especially out of Paradise, just coordinate with me or whoever, well, not with me, but whoever your primary person is that I can talk to. Your marketing specialist or marketing manager. So if you look at 90 days, I need them on day one. I need them in the middle of the 90, which would be 45 days later, and I need them for the show day. Now, what that equates to is just more e-blasts out from their information base. I do believe they mentioned in our shows the week that we go on sale, and I'm not sure they've been mentioning the week of the show. Only you guys would have record of that. I'm not down here. I'm not listening. I'm not watching it.
Thank you.
So that would be a great improvement that won't cost you money. Did I answer that? That was a long answer to a short question.
What are you projecting this year? Do you have shows that you're projecting this year? Or, we talking, how many shows did you do 2022 with us?
Probably a dozen.
And are you looking at another dozen this year? Are you trying to be up, down? What do you think your goals are this year?
I won't pass on a show that I feel will sell well here.
Okay.
Whether that adds up to 16 shows a year or 11, I never know what's coming. Because I'm constantly sifting through future tour routing with the agents that control. There's probably 4 booking agencies that represent most artists we all have ever heard of. So it's a pretty tight loop of people that I deal with. And they're not stupid. They're out there to get all the money they can.
Sure.
It's all about money, folks.
Well, Larry, I just want to say thank you for, for coming and bringing shows here. We appreciate that very much. Did you have anything else, or did we have any more questions?
All right. Well, thanks for inviting me down.
Thank you. Thank you. I know you drove a long way, so thank you.
Oh, it's not that bad.
And
All right. Thank you, guys.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You're probably going to have to do this twice, but marketing plans what I have next, and you'll probably go over it again for,
Okay.
so update us on what's going on with Paradise.
Bruce, is your mic on?
Push your button.
Thank you. It is now. There, okay. So they put together some slides for us. We don't have to we can talk as much as you want, obviously, but so first, the website, and I don't think it's on that slide. I asked for a hard commitment on a launch date. They said on the 15th, they'll present it to us for review.
15th this month.
Yes. On the 17th, they would like approval or feedback, and the 21st, they'd like to go live if there are no changes. If there are changes, that could push it a little bit.
Now, the website, to kind of address what Larry is saying, that also includes part of the auditorium. I know I haven't seen it. Is there a tab for the auditorium and the shows in the auditorium?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll know on the 15th.
Yeah. When we get to preview it.
Okay, so preview.
Is the 17th, is that a meeting day, or what are these dates here?
That's just the dates they give me. I asked them for
Let me look at the
hard
calendar.
dates to get it going, and they said they could get it live by the 21st unless we
Our
have.
next meeting is not until the 22nd.
Yeah. So I can, I'll get with Scott as we're looking at it, and surely Scott can forward that to everyone to look
Sure.
at too.
Yeah.
And he can.
But that's good news, though. 21st for a
Yeah.
potential launch.
Yes. Okay, so, let's see here.
And on the 15th, if you feel, for me, if you feel like that we need a special meeting or something,
Okay.
let Scott know. We could schedule that if we needed to on the 17th to make sure we don't have any delays.
So each week I've been talking with Paradise, and they've been planning. I've been kind of giving feedback based on conversations we've all had. For spring break, they're going to roll out, and so we defined a core audience. I think this is pretty wise, women 25 to 54. And so what the research is showing is that the women are the planners, and that they're much higher visitor rate. That's based on last year's data. So they wanted to get aggressive targeting the actual planners. 75,000 is the target range. I know. So I brought up, when you look at some of the Zartico data and stuff, there are lower income groups in there that are coming, but they want to push higher. I think our retail partners would probably agree with that, since people are budget conscious. We want to get
Is this launched?
I'll get to those dates in here. It's coming up.
Okay.
So anyway, trying to get the right balance of spend from a traveler. I think this is similar to what's been done before. Primary focus, families with kids and household. This is, and we're talking spring break, and some of this will be layered in the summer too. In the past, it looks like we were targeting families a lot, but we are going to be focusing on couples. April, May, we've identified, and I will show this on the screen, but the spring break windows. But we'll start, as spring break is happening, then it's pretty much over, because the booking window, right now the data's showing about 24 days out is when people are starting to book hard. So each of these campaigns are timed ahead of time to hit those windows. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we're missing the first 2 months. And then this will,
What do you mean we're missing the first 2 months?
we're not doing any advertising in January and February.
Yeah, January would have been needed to be done in like December or earlier, yeah. February, so that's a bigger conversation. We've kind of had those, if the towns have shut down, how much money do you focus on that time period versus the other time periods and those sorts of things. One thing Paradise will tell you is that for what they feel, for us to be effective, it would take a lot more money to do a 52-week type campaign. I think they're trying to be smart with the windows they're hitting, which is probably primarily March through December. And I think this year we'll have a little better impact on December than in the past.
So if we are doing it March through December and we have an annual contract through Paradise, are we getting some sort of a prorate for starting in March through December?
Well, I mean, there's pieces that are still going on, like right now, social media and things are still going. But, the media spins broke out, and you'll see some of what they're proposing here in a second. But, you have to tailor the campaigns you can do it different ways. I'll just show you what's being proposed.
Okay.
I'm not going to read all this. We can go to the next slide, especially if we're going to do this again. Okay, so this is some of the Zartico data, and we can get in that now. It's starting to populate. I don't know if you've looked at it, Jeff. I've started looking at it. It's building. We've got another program, I guess, we signed up for that I think is going to be even better. But so this shows the top markets, top spending markets. We can go to the next one. Okay, so there's our top markets in that top deal: the Springfield, Little Rock, Tulsa, Kansas City, Dallas. Okay, so then for spring break, they're recommending we just really aggressively go after the top 5: Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Springfield, Little Rock, Kansas City, and these spend well. They fit our demographics.
Are these
great.
in any order? I know sometimes they're in order of.
Yeah.
They are?
Based off of that chart up above, yeah.
Okay.
Of who sends us, that first part is.
Can you talk about getting a bigger TV?
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Or maybe I'll move my table up.
So,
That's hard to read.
spring break, let's see. We can move forward a slide. We kind of understand that, top 5 markets. And then, so we were talking about that booking window. That's kind of the layered approach to start hitting. So the 20th, you're currently already seeing social media get boosted, I think,
Yeah.
You're
Seen some of that.
seeing more activity stuff coming out. Well, things to do and that sort of deal. So that, to me, what I've seen, it's looking better. Now, the 20th, the spring break program advertising hits. And so that'll be those top 5 markets we talked about. Well, spring break is for if you look here, it shows when those spring breaks are. The big one's the week of 3/13. Then you've got those other towns that have that fit in our deal. So
we're just barely going to get, when are we going to start advertising for these?
220 is when
220, okay.
220 is when the campaign starts. Yeah, boosted posts across Facebook, Instagram. So I'd requested a little more focus on Facebook and Google because we get such a good return off of those. So I think we'll get that. Now, Adara that they're talking about is a new service we've signed up for. I'm pretty excited about that. So Adara has like thousands of partners, all from Delta to different airlines.
Hold on a second. Scott, is everything okay?
Okay. So,
Okay, go ahead.
okay. So Adara's got thousands of partners. It does not have, so it doesn't include Airbnb and VRBO, but lots of other travel partners, chains, booking platforms, things that we'll be able to get pretty precise data to help with planning moving forward, which we really need. Okay, any questions on that?
No, let's keep going. Good.
Spring campaign, media approach. The next slide, Ron, please. Okay, so that's our concentrated target market list we talked about. Primary focus will be on families. So spring will be obviously April, May, right? And so I'm going to talk to them a little more because my direction was a little more on couples. So working more on switching gears because we've got different times of the year where, so like summer, once school's out, yeah, we should be hitting on families, right?
Right.
And then, and couples secondary. But like April, the spring, not spring break, but April, May, we should be hitting couples. You all agree with that? As a primary focus instead of families.
Yeah, and then
Makes sense.
June, July be.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
okay. I like that.
I'll make sure, because this isn't approved yet, but this is pretty much the plan.
So, I mean, just speaking of June, July, do we have another one for summer? Because now we're kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
quickly approaching.
Yeah, so summer, so it's layered and, yes, it's coming up here in
Okay.
a second. But
I'm sorry.
well, that's
Sorry.
okay. So their team, their creative team is working on spring break content. They'll pull a little bit of the content just to get things going faster that was real successful last year, but they'll have new content going by the 20th. And then they're working on that spring campaign. As that's rolling, they'll start working on summer. And so it's going to be a continuous process of them working on things.
So up until the 20th, we will have previous years or last year's advertisements. Then after the 20th, we will then begin a new campaign?
Well, it's going to be boosted content, as well as pulling a little bit of very successful pieces from last year,
Right.
just to get
Going.
just some stuff going. Yep.
I mean, I'm going to just say it again. I have a hard time paying them again for another year for stuff that we've done last year. And I mean, at this point, just business to business, we should be saying, you didn't provide these services.
Well, I think they are going to provide the service. I mean,
But they didn't provide fresh, new services.
Oh, they will.
They're providing old services that they've redoing. Do you know what I mean?
I'll say that's more my request, that rather than wait on the new content to be rolled out, that we go ahead and start layering in some stuff now, earlier.
Exactly, though. There's no new
But-
content, but we've already paid them for new content.
No, we haven't paid them for
Haven't
any
paid them
content.
anything yet.
And in fact, I mean, the contract
But
was
we will be paying
just
them.
approved last meeting, and
Yeah.
they couldn't, I mean,
You see what I'm saying?
no, well, I do and I don't, because I was one on the fence about approving them or not. So if we put ourselves in their position,
Yeah,
they're going,
they don't know.
we're 50-50 on if these guys are going to retain us. So we can't expect them to do anything until we've agreed. And so, that's where we're at.
I just don't want
I don't want
us-
to be there again.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I don't want us paying for things that either A, we're
We're
not
not.
done, whether it's our fault or their fault. But I just think we should just be sure that this is what's going on. And, as far as invoicing, that the invoices that are coming through, those definitely need to come before this commission. Things like that, because who's looking at these invoices?
Well, every commissioner has a right to look at them,
Finance.
obviously.
Yeah.
And anyone can FOI any
Scott
of that stuff.
sees them,
Yeah.
and then they're all approved by the director.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott. Tell us
Yeah.
the process.
The invoices are received to the tourism director, and they're approved in writing and what code to apply that expense. And I've never and never will pay anything unless it's been signed
Right.
off with authority, which in this case, with the staff you have now, which is myself, I prefer that, I don't have the authority to issue payment, and I would never take that anyway, but you guys need to be the ones to see and sign off when you're ready for me to issue payment to Paradise, because I'm not going to be responsible for the work they've done because I'm not in that loop.
Yeah,
Well,
for
that's-
And I want you to
instance.
be, I want you to
That's
be
the
aware
function of
of
the director.
what
That's the
you're
function of the
getting for the
director.
money, is what I'm
But
saying.
in our bylaws, Section 7, Article 3, Section 7, all expenditures must be reviewed and approved by the commission. I have never once seen an invoice come across this desk. I've been here a year. I've never once seen an invoice.
Well, I don't know that it's a process that we approve every
No, I
invoice.
think that's in reference
I've
to the
never seen
financial
that.
that Scott shows us.
I think it's the budgets and the financials.
Well, the director
But
of
your
tourism is the
duty-
one that signs off, but that's what I'm looking for
Yeah.
when I issue payment, because someone's taking responsibility to say that work
Yeah.
was done. And then once I get that, then I issue payment.
So we hire a director that runs day-to-day operations. And so we approve a budget. Typically, this is how it would work. We would approve a budget. Big ticket items, we may have requirements that we agree upon, like, okay, if you're going to sign up for a Paradise level thing, that needs to be approved, that kind of stuff. But once it's approved, then and we've got the allocations of how that works, so then that person is responsible for making sure that happens right. Then it's our responsibility to be a check. But, if you want to look at invoices, then look at invoices.
I think that
But you're
especially.
approving it when you approve financials. So,
Right, and I hear that. But I think especially while we don't have a director, that they should come before this board, especially Paradise invoicing, which we've already been confused on. Madison is no longer here, which has signed our document, our contract for Paradise. This is something that we should be concerned with because this person has left us after a year, which is no there's nothing wrong with anything that has happened, but I do feel as if she was on her way out when she made this contract.
So I'm with you, but the cart's in front of the horse now, because
Okay,
can we do
let's
this?
get back to this.
Let's
Yes.
do this.
Sorry for the tangent.
And then
Yes.
I'm chomping at the bit to talk about what we're going to do.
Heard.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Okay, so spring, the demographic, we talked about planners, the women. Focus on targeting vacation rental traveler. I don't remember that as much in discussions. I was reading that today. And so I'll ask about that.
Okay.
So, because we're doing a lot of different advertising that will appeal to whether it's a vacation rental or a hotel or whatever, or day trippers. Anyway, road trip focus. We talked about the markets. Okay, competitive targeting. Okay, so one thing I'm pushing for is that they layer in a budget conscious inflation, and I don't have the answer, but that's what we're paying for, creative people, to come up with something. And most of our marketing this year, I think we need to appeal to the, people are budget conscious. And that's the data, the research.
They're looking for value.
Yeah.
People are looking for value.
Their research shows 86% are looking for deals.
Yeah.
So they're going to layer that in our messaging. And I think that's big, is like showing that we're an alternative to more expensive destinations and all we have to offer. Okay, next. Okay, next. So this is, they just threw in some stuff about Adara and all the stuff that it's going to start showing us. So this, I think, will be pretty exciting. Next.
Where is this company from?
I don't know. This was part of what was presented last year, part of the package, to get more granular data. Help us really understand who's coming here.
This is a sample, or is this an actual?
That's a sample.
So it's not.
That's not ours.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not ours information.
No.
Okay. Let's see.
But we'll be able to start seeing data we should be able to, that we haven't, as far as like how many hotel bookings and,
So can we take this a step further, and when we are getting this information, can we send out or geofence these people while they're here? So they're hitting, all of our activities are hitting their phone, or what's going on in the odd, or...
that's some of the cool things about that with the Adara people, is like, it allows us to, when people on all of those platforms that they're partnered with, when people are real-time looking at us, like tagging them and then chasing them in ads, and it takes it to another level that some of the other platforms, you can do, but you're limited your reach, and so this should greatly increase our reach. Now, you're saying when people are in market, what exactly?
Yeah, so, we've dealt with this with our businesses with a radio station, but basically, if you were in that area that they have selected, if your cell phone hits that area, you then are pinged with whatever is going on, or your ad. And, our ad would be, come see whatever, activity, Basin Park, whatever's going on there, odd,
That would probably be a big one for us for the odd, I would think, but I don't know.
In the past conversations that we've always had about marketing in this commission is that our job was to get them here. Once they get here and they get inside your geofence, it's the responsibility of the locals then to bring them into their business.
Well, why is it? It could be,
Well, we
it could be a
can't-
helpful,
How do we pick who,
I'm just saying that's the
Well, it would be
conversations
the
from past
people paying
commissions.
the
If we want to have
taxes.
a new conversation, we
The
can.
tax
But
collectors.
that's been the.
Yeah. So, I do think that's, we're trying to get tourists to the town, and then,
That's right.
So, okay. Next.
And this is still generic, or is this us?
This
I
is
think
still
this
generic.
is, I think this is generic, yeah, trip planning window. So it will show us like, and we'll have very, like right now, what they're seeing out there kind of nationally or whatever is the 24-day booking window, which has increased, and the trend it continues to increase. So we'll be able to see real time what it is exactly for us, for sure.
And when is this going into?
It's launching now. I mean, we're enrolled in it. And
And-
so as these campaigns start going out,
That's what it's
piece
going
of
to
the
be.
campaign, yeah. Next slide, please. This just talks about the metrics we'll be able to see from all the media vendors. See the revenue. Next, please. Okay, so this is how they want to spend the media money, and so this will be up to us. This is what they suggest. We met with Connie, typically meet more with Kristen and Michael, but Connie is like their head of kind of like how they allocate these campaigns and stuff. And we tweaked the dates somewhat. They had it a little different because, and now's our time to speak for us. It's
Right.
like hers was, you need a couple of breaks to get the maximum impact out of your money. And so it was like, okay, so if we have a break from 4/16 to 5/1, then 5/1 is launching into summer. Before that, it's all spring, it's promoting for May. But then the break in September to October is because October is like one of our busiest months. So the thought process is to try to boost our softer shoulder months. Does that make sense?
First off, I just want to say that the fall campaign, that's like fall and winter.
Okay.
December's our winter, really.
Yeah.
Here.
So to your point, there was no marketing for January, and probably a
I
little.
think we're going to have, this summer, we're going to have to address that specific issue this
Yeah,
summer.
with some planning. Well,
It's with some
yeah.
planning this summer.
So right, we know that Paradise is our triage or whatever for now. But, retail is hurting in December. We've got shows in December, and business is slow. Like the first week of December is dead. And so there's some marketing planning to attack and try to boost business through the holidays. That's the
So
forethought.
now you're saying that we should advertise in the slow times.
I didn't disagree with you before.
You said that we're pretty much closed up, so we shouldn't put in,
We're talking about last year. I'm talking about this coming year, right?
okay.
So, I mean, this is, if we say we don't want to do that, we can change that. We can layer it into, to different, conversations I've had, maybe you guys too, it seems like, and we've had in these planning deals, is that we need to do stuff to boost, November, December.
So the last 2 years, we did supplementals, right? That's what we did the last 2 years. We did supplemental plans that were just for the fall. I think this is probably okay for me now, but I think we're going to, middle of the year, really even sooner, we have to really have conversations about the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
Fourth
What
quarter
we're
and
really gonna do.
first quarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really have
Yeah.
to have, and figure out what that's going to mean for everyone.
Well, and I am a little concerned with $100,000 being our spring spring break budget, and
Well,
we've
it's spring
got
break and spring. It's not
Okay.
just, it's all the
Yeah,
way.
it's all spring,
So
right.
all
that,
until April.
you know, the campaign pauses the 16th in April, but you realize that's all focused out into May's business. And then it reloads, gives them a window to reload and have, then the summer campaign starts firing in May, even though we've advertised for May.
Right.
So you're trying
Okay.
to not
I
have
see.
gaps, but you do a little, in a sense.
I would suggest doing a winter campaign as well. That really just focuses on,
Well, that's kind of what the fall is, because you're,
but the fall is different because it's fall foliage. Fall foliage, and we have the Folk Fest.
Right.
And those things, but those things are very different than holiday.
sure.
I just
So-
want to remind
Just- but
everybody, we
whatever-
only have about 10
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah,
before we start
so
the meeting.
it's
Okay.
just labeled
We still have
fall
other things
campaign.
that we
But
can
that's
cover.
where we'll, and we need, sooner the better, we decide what happens in that October to December advertising, but that's for winter. Well, I mean, you're going into December, so you can hit January. We'll have, this year, we've got to have long-term planning for next year. So if we
Yeah.
want, that's a big conversation as far as, if you're saying January, February of next year, yeah, that's a big conversation. Was there more? I think that was it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else on that?
No, I would just say that Paradise is very, very responsive. They've been, I've been meeting with them each week for an hour to 2 hours, well, or more. But they've been very, very on it, in my opinion. And
Good.
I asked about the website, and it's like, we got to have a date. That's it, and they're like, boom.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
so,
Okay, so let's move on. Obviously, we need employees. I put on our workshop, and look, we only have 10 minutes here, so let's, about a plan for hiring employees. I'd just like to recommend that maybe we at least consider some form of a hiring committee that we put together to go out and get these people hired. We need to hire people like as soon as
Yeah.
possible, but we need good candidates too, and I think that's a process. So your thoughts on that? Yes, no? How do you guys want to proceed with?
I need an hour, not 10 minutes.
Well, and
you
are we
got
supposed to
10.
make any decisions here at this table
No.
in the workshop?
No.
No,
I
no,
mean, I think
discussion.
that, yeah.
This is discussion.
Okay.
Because we can make this decision
Yeah.
in the meeting at 6 o'clock.
Well, we also need to talk about an interim director,
Absolutely.
because
Right.
I think that we need somebody that's going to keep us a little organized, get us back on track.
Yep.
We don't have
Yep.
anybody left in the office.
I think Scott
Oh,
would be.
Scott.
Well, I think Scott would disagree.
One, one guy. We got the
Hey,
one guy.
Scott's pretty good, though. He's
I know,
talented
you
guy.
are.
Right.
But
Anyway, so that would be my recommendation if you guys are interested in having that conversation, and I think we should. Any other discussion on that? Are you guys open to that idea?
Yeah.
I don't think we should discuss that here, whether we're open to it or not.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Just to be cautious.
So,
Okay.
I don't know, what are our other options?
I don't have many.
Yeah.
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 So, I've been giving a lot of thought about this, and does anyone else want to talk?
No.
'Cause I'm going to
You're
use
doing
all the
great.
10 minutes. So, I think we need to be real careful rushing to hire, and that we don't try to put a Band-Aid on the problem. We do have a full-service agency that, fortunately, we didn't realize it, but we need them. Or I didn't realize it. But I think we need to look at what our real problem is, and problems are with the hiring, with the position, and it's not hiring, it's not the personnel, it's not the hard truth is it's not, the position is not very attractive right now. There's too much negative infighting in the business community town. I've been putting feelers out to people that might be marketing professionals to see interest levels. There's not. It's going to be very difficult to find someone for a couple of reasons. One, the negative atmosphere. Two, money. And, you know, I can look at like my last couple of marketing directors I had at hotels or properties were paid more, and they weren't the director. You know, I was the director. They were paid more than Madison was. So, you know, the talent pool's out there. A, you're asking a lot to get them to come risk their careers, and then the payment's not there to move people anyway. So I say we need to start with acknowledging we have a problem, and I would just beg for unity, that we, as a community, as business leaders, which is who cares, you know, who's interested in the CAPC, is that we come together and start supporting whoever the next director and staff are. There's lots of, the cool thing is there's awesome passion in this town, incredible passion. And so then we know we got the energy to do lots of stuff, so we got to come together. And I think we really need someone that's a unity person.
Sure.
I think we're going to have to get a CEO type that maybe is an interim and is able to kind of bring a marketing professional under their wing to groom them to that next position. At the same time, we can, a vision would be to get the community involved in committee type things like Lynn has talked about. I think if we can get people working together, it'll be huge. And I think we've got the person who can do that. But I would like to say, you know, I think we all know Einstein's quote: "If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got." So there's got to be some change. And
so we have finance director, we have, of course, the tourism director, we have a marketing position, we have the auditorium director, that's what we, and then the office manager, right? These are all the positions currently. Are we saying that we need to redefine these, or are we okay with these positions?
well,
And really, I'm asking that, or do we, if we put together a subcommittee, is it their responsibility to make a recommendation back to the commission as a whole?
well, in my
Or do we
mind,
just have
in my
more
mind, let's say we hired the director. The director says, okay, what have you done in the past? This is what I've done. This is what I propose. I need these, this. Then we agree to it or not. And
Yeah, but we've already been advertising for an auditorium
Right,
director.
right.
We already
We
have some
need that.
candidates, right? We already have some candidates that could be, we've also had, you know, office manager.
Right.
We've got applications in now that
Yeah.
could be looked at. So that's the situation.
for the
right?
hiring committee. I see
If
what you're
we
saying.
hire before, you know, we hire a director, that's just my question. That's why I feel like a committee, and it could be several commissioners, it could be several people from the public, it could be, you know, we could put together a committee to help us.
Well, I think the committee should be more about finding the candidates than vetting the candidates. I think
Sure.
the vetting should be
I
up
think-
to us, and I think that we should set the requirements of what that should be.
I don't disagree with that.
And I do think we should,
But the committee can make great recommendations.
yeah,
That's-
absolutely,
That would be
absolutely.
the point.
So, right. But we're limited, and even the committee is going to be limited to how much time
Yeah, we need to act now.
can do.
That's
I mean,
fine.
well, I mean, like, we meet every 2 weeks, which, you know, is like here, like that, and gone.
Yeah,
I think we need an interim director, and
agree.
I've talked to Scott. I don't know if you know Scott's background, but Scott's had a pretty darn good career. He's someone very trustworthy with a lot of integrity. We already trust him with the main thing that matters, the money. And I think he's a unity guy. I think he can help us get through this phase somewhat and help, and then we've got someone day-to-day doing some things. So
Okay.
I wanted to discuss that a little bit.
Okay, we got 3 minutes. I recommend we take a break.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, guys. Come
Thank
back
you.
at 6. And hopefully we'll have some other commissioners.
Right.